Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. It's Becca here with you, and I'm super excited for you to be hanging out with me today. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe so that you can hang out with me each time a new video gets released. Alright, so let me just tell y'all that this is my second time recording this video. I recorded it last week actually, and edited it, uploaded it, and yeah, found out I don't normally rewatch the videos. Like I'll do it a little bit as I edit it, but I don't normally just rewatch it. Well, something happened apparently in the upload process, and a majority of the video didn't have sound or video. So there's that. All right, so here I am again, and welcome. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be better on round 2, right? It's gonna be better. All right. So let me just tell y'all, the weather in Louisiana has been insane. I talked about this a little bit on I think my last video. Anyway, we were not ready for the snow. Well, the snow really wasn't the issue. It was the ice that was the issue. We can handle humidity. We can handle the heat. We can handle the sweat, friends. We can deal with that. We don't know what to do with harsh winter conditions. We don't have the equipment or we just don't have the necessities in order to, prepare ourselves. Like, we just were not, we were struggling. Like, our trees are falling down. Our homes are experiencing damage. Does a home experience damage? I don't know that that's the right word I'm looking for, but yeah. Anyway, but we've been struggling. Like, our mental health, there are still people right now that don't have water and power in the more rural areas of where I'm from. So yeah, we struggling a little bit. But it's like sunny and 70 today. So there's that. We got a week in between, and now we're experiencing spring. It was like, we're gonna have all of winter in a week. I did have some fun in the snow. I will say I did enjoy the snow. And you can barely see it now. You probably can't even see it on video, but I scraped my chin a little bit. I decided to go sledding, and but we don't have sleds in Louisiana, okay? But we do have lids off of the big, like, plastic containers, and that's what I slid down on. And I went face first. Did not know there was a man-made little ramp that somebody had done the day before maybe, and I went over it face first, and my chin caught the brunt of it. So yeah, I had a little road rash for about, a week or so. It's pretty cleared up now, so, it was fine. It was totally worth it. I went down again. Like, it was fine. But anyway, on a serious note, there are lots of businesses and lots of homes that experience, I keep using experience, that have a lot of damage. And so if you would just be in prayer for all of those that have to deal with that, have to deal with cleanup. Thank God for all of those that volunteered and are volunteering in the cleanup process and are getting people's power restored, all of the linemen, and for those that are working for those kind of companies. I know that a lot of people have taken time away from their homes and have been working just around the clock, basically. So pray for those people that are still doing that. And I know Texas had it way worse than we did in Louisiana. So please be in prayer for all those that have just had to deal with the chaos, and all of those helping to restore some normalcy to some homes. All right, so before we dive into what we're going to be chatting about today, and that's going to be physical health. If you watched my last video, maybe you did the homework, maybe you didn't. If not, it's okay. I really I wanted you to kind of get a baseline about, like, where you feel like your health is today. It's really good to kind of know where you're at so that you can set goals and you can see where you improve and where you can change and where you can move forward. And so that's really what that was for. You can still do that. You can still go back and see, take evaluations as far as where you feel like you're at right now and where you want to be in your health. So don't worry. If you haven't done it, it's not a big deal. You can still go back and do that. So, and honestly, when all of the snow and ice happened, I feel like that whole week my health took a nosedive. I feel like I am apparently a bored eater. I was so bored. So I ate all of the unhealthy snacks. Plus, we were like at different people's houses, just trying to find a warm place, a place that had electricity and water. So just kind of being all over the place, eating all of the junk, not being very inactive. The cold does not agree with me. I just don't like, it makes me want to like just bundle up. And so, yeah, I was just very lazy and ate all of the junk last week. And, I will say this week I've been more conscientious about it, but like seriously, when you start eating a lot of junk food, you have this tendency to just kind of get on that. I do. I get stuck in this rut of like, well, I'm eating it, so let me just continue to eat it. It's really bad. It's an issue, and so I've been really trying to be more conscientious about what I'm eating, and I'm back to moving my body. A little tidbit too is like I couldn't get to the gym. I couldn't get to where I needed to go, and I do not like working out at home. I know some people love it. Like that's where they want to move. They're like, let me work out at home. I am not a fan. I just move better when I'm in a gym or with other people or even outside, just getting out of where I'm normally at. I don't know. It just spurs me on. Or if people are with me, I just do better. I just do better with people, I guess. But I will say, like, this week, I don't know if you've noticed, I'm not at home, okay? This is not my normal background. I'm in a hotel, and so I had to use the hotel gym today, which it did not have all the things that I needed, but sometimes you just have to do what you've got to do, okay? So if you have to work out at home, you have to work out at home, right? I know there's some moms out there and just some people who maybe you can't afford the gym or you just cannot make it to the gym, and so you have to work out at home, even if that's not your favorite thing. Even if you don't have, quote unquote, everything you need. Like, I really needed a barbell. I really need a barbell tomorrow, but I don't have one, so I used what I had, right? I used dumbbells, things like that. So sometimes you just have to do what you have to do regardless of what obstacles kind of stand in your way. So you just kind of improvise and you figure it out sometimes, friends. You just make it work and do what you got to do, okay? Don't let obstacles stand in your way. Find a way around them. And don't be afraid of improvising. So I mentioned last week that we should seek God in our health, and I know that for most of us, we tend to compartmentalize God and we keep him in different, in our Bible study time, in our church time, things like that. But Jesus wants us to be wholly his, and that includes our eating and our movement, includes everything when it comes to who we are as people, right? It includes our health. And so he wants us to be wholly his. 1 Corinthians 6:20 says, "For you were bought at a price, therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." And so that tells me that includes this body. He literally says, therefore glorify God in your body. All right. So I feel like it's very clear that he wants us to take care of these things that he's given us, right? Is our mode of transportation while here on this earth. It's how we get around. It's what he's given us to do the things that he's called us to do. And so how do we see God getting glory from how we treat our body and how we live in our body, right? How do we see God getting glory in our body? Are we even considering what God wants us to do? What does he want for our bodies? Are we including him in how we move, in what we choose to eat? And maybe that sounds really weird, but honestly, like, he really cares. Like, he cares about everything. He wants us to feel well. He wants us to move well and to be well so that we can do the things that he's created and called us to do. All right. And so when it comes to our bodies, our health, our eating habits and exercising habits, it's not a one size fits all. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you this is what you should be eating and this is how you should be moving, because it's not how it works. Okay. We all have individual bodies. We all have different, people have food allergies and food intolerances. People have things where they can't move a certain way, or they don't enjoy moving a certain way. And so I'm not going to tell you what you should or shouldn't do. I'm going to tell you that you should find what works for you and for your body. Okay. You want to find what's the right combination for you. It doesn't look the same from person to person because, like I said, we all have different needs. We all have different goals. Like, my goals and your goals may not be the same, and that's okay. That is totally okay, right? A person who's running a marathon, I'm never running a marathon, friends. I'm going to just go ahead and say that. Like, the Lord would really have to speak to my heart on that. But I don't have zero desire to run 26 miles, okay? Now, I love obstacle course races. I will do those over just straight running. I just don't have, I don't love to run like that. And so how I train my body is going to be different from how a marathon runner trains their body. And so what are your goals? What do you enjoy? And so knowing that so that you can fuel your body well and move your body well. Okay. So don't be afraid to go against the norm of what everybody else is doing. And two, also, if you have neglected your body for an extended period of time, to see improvement in certain areas may take time, right? If we have throughout our lifetime not taking care of our bodies, don't be surprised when it takes a little while for our bodies to start responding when we start treating them better. So I want to say, be patient with yourself, be consistent, just keep putting in the hard work even when it feels like it's not working. Give it time, okay? It's not going to be easy. Change is rarely easy. So if you are coming into this with previously maybe neglecting your health and now you're really striving for good health, don't be surprised if it takes some time, okay? I want to encourage you, just keep at it. It's worth it in the end, okay? I know we all want quick fixes. Who doesn't? We live in a world of convenience and fast food and what's quick and what's easy and instant downloads and streaming and all of the things that come really, really quickly to us. And that's just not how it works with health. Our health is something that it does take time, it does take consistency, and we're not going to get quick fixes. Here's the thing is if it comes quick, it will probably go quickly. Does that make sense? So if it happens really fast, you may not be able to stay there. Am I making sense? It may not be that long-lasting result, which is what we're going for. And so long-lasting results usually take time invested. And so we have to invest the time and put in the work and be consistent, and it has to be sustainable. I know that we have all these fad diets that people go on, and I'm not a fad diet girl. I don't normally jump on whatever bandwagon is rolling around. I'm really more like eat good food and you get good results. But that's what works for me. You do you, okay? But we want to be careful with things that are not sustainable. If you are eating in a way that you cannot eat that way forever, then your results may not be sustainable. Not to say that cleanses are bad, not to say that things like that are bad at all. I'm not saying that, but you want to find a way to eat that you can eat that way for a lifetime. Does that make sense? You want to be able to have something that's sustainable that you can live with. And I will say, like, you are capable of doing it, and don't think you have to make a million changes overnight. Take your time. Small changes make a big difference. So maybe you start with one thing and build your way up. And I'm going to kind of talk about that towards the end of the video. All right, so we just have to find what's beneficial for our bodies, right? In 1 Corinthians 10:23, it says, everything is permissible, but not everything is helpful. Everything is permissible, but not everything builds up, right? And so you can eat whatever you want. It's permissible. You have the free reign to choose whatever you want to eat, right? You can eat fast food 3 times a day if that makes you happy and that's what you want to do. You have permission to do that. But is it going to be beneficial to your body, right? It's not bad to have a brownie. Have a brownie, friend. And if it's me, I'm putting ice cream and probably some, I want walnuts in my brownie and maybe some chocolate or caramel syrup on top. Y'all, I love some brownie with some ice cream. Okay. It's not bad to celebrate, is what I'm saying. You can celebrate. You can have a feast. Speaking of, my birthday's coming up. I'm talking about celebration. Hey, we get to celebrate me on the 26th of February, in case you were wondering about that. Yes, I'm going to be 35. Is that crazy? Is that crazy? It feels crazy to me. It's probably not crazy to you at all, but I feel 35. I don't know. It's fine. It's good. I'm feeling good about it. I've enjoyed my 30s. So anyway, you can eat whatever you want to eat, but is it helpful? Is it beneficial? Is it advantageous to your goals, to what you want to do, to how you want to feel? Is it good for your body? So sometimes those brownies and feasts are good for your soul. Sometimes you need to celebrate, okay? So I'm not saying never eat, fill in the blank here. I'm not saying don't eat and don't celebrate and don't eat certain things, but what I am saying is maybe you don't do it every day. Maybe it's not a daily brownie, okay? But seriously, like, let's think about what we're eating, and is what I'm putting in my body beneficial to my body? Is it going to be beneficial to my health? Is it going to help me and give me advantage over sicknesses or diseases? And this doesn't just include what we're eating, but also what we're drinking. Like, I love coffee, y'all. Like, I love it, especially when it's cold outside and like you get a hot cup of coffee. I could drink coffee literally all day long. But I recently learned some of the negative side effects to overconsumption of coffee and caffeine in general. So as much as I love it and it warms my soul, I'm cutting back on how much coffee I'm drinking, because on a daily basis. I'm not saying I'm not going to have extra coffee from time to time, but on my daily routine and my day-to-day consumption, I'm lowering how much I'm drinking. I'm not going to drink so much coffee, because I understand that if I continue in that, the negative impact it could have on me and my health. And that may seem like a really small thing. It may seem very like you're like, okay, okay, cool, like you're not drinking 5 cups of coffee today, like congrats. But like I said earlier, like small changes make a big difference. So you just, sometimes it's the small things that add up and make a big impact in our life. All right, so I think that too, one of the things that we can do as well is to change our thought process. We think we need to make these big sweeping changes, right? Like, let me overhaul my diet. I'm gonna throw out all the junk in my household. Like, no more candy, no more snacks. Like, this is what we're gonna do, complete overhaul. And usually that overwhelms us and we end up back where we started, okay? And so we need to really kind of shift our perspective into looking at small sustainable changes and building from that over time. And then also really kind of changing the way that we think about why we're doing what we're doing. So to change our perspective, and saw, like, what if instead of seeing like, oh, I have to eat a salad today, or I have to eat yada yada yada, what if we saw it as an opportunity to fuel our body well? Like, oh, I get to choose these good foods for me. Like, this is an opportunity for me to take care of my body. This is an opportunity for me to fuel my body well, so I'm going to feel well later on. And so if we changed our perspective of eating healthy food is helping me to feel well, it's helping me, it's giving me energy, it's helping me fight like disease and sickness. So what if we changed our perspective and stopped looking at it as something that's torturous, right? As like, it's this terrible thing that we have to do. Same thing with exercise and movement. Like, let's look at it as a get to. Now, I know I'm kind of like a weird person that really enjoys movement. I love pushing myself. I love challenging myself. I love just pushing myself to the brink of, like, I'm feeling like death. Honestly, I don't know why I like these things. Okay, this is how the Lord made me. But and there are other people like me, in case you're wondering. But there are people who really struggle with movement and they just don't love it, right? And so it's finding ways to move your body that you can, and shifting your perspective to try to enjoy it, right? God, and maybe it's a prayer like, God, help me enjoy good food, help me to enjoy movement, help me to really change my mindset on how I see good, like, nutritious food and movement. And so finding what how you move well and how you can enjoy that movement. So find movement that works for you. There's so many different ways to move your body, right? So find what you enjoy. And to remember that movement also helps us as we age, and it helps us to be able to continue to enjoy life without hindrance. And before the Industrial Revolution, fitness was defined as the capacity to carry out the day's activities without undue fatigue. However, with automation and changes in lifestyles, physical fitness is now considered a measure of the body's ability to function efficiently and effectively in work and leisure activities, to be healthy, to resist hypokinetic diseases, and to meet emergency situations. And so physical fitness is not just like, hey, you should move because it's good for you, but it literally helps us live better lives, literally, okay? It helps us to function better at work, at our homes, in our activities and our hobbies that we enjoy. It helps us to resist disease. And should something crazy happen and you need to be able to help somebody in an emergency situation, it helps you in that too. So it's not just about how many jumping jacks you can do or how much weight you can lift or how far you can run. It's literally about living a better quality of life for you in the day to day, all right? Without undue fatigue. So it helps you to literally enjoy life and in a greater way, all right? So it's so important. It's so important to take care of our health by eating and moving well, and all the while keeping our main focus, and that is like to glorify God in it. Because the Lord is for our bodies. He made these bodies, okay? So of course He's for it. And there are so many benefits to exercise and movement. And I'm going to link some articles if you want to check into like in depth of how physical fitness impacts your life and your health. So I'm going to link those in the description. So if you want to check those out, if you want to geek out a little bit on how physical fitness literally affects every other area of your life, like your mental health, your emotional health, all of these things and the benefits, okay, go check it out. I'm going to leave the links below. So how do we bring the Holy Spirit into our eating and exercising? Well, in Galatians 5, Paul talks about the Spirit, allowing Him to invade every area of our lives and giving Him control over our lives. He continues to talk about how we can do that, and he comes to the part of the fruit of the Spirit, and this is where the Lord cultivates in us these fruit of the Spirit, and one of them is self-control. And so I think that's very valuable here, is allowing the Spirit to develop in us the self-control to make good choices and not to splurge every time that temptation is laid before us, right? Steve Reynolds says that our body is not intended for the gratification of self. And yet, is that not how we live, right? So our body is not intended for the gratification of self, but for the glorification of God. God gave us these bodies to honor Him. They are not our own. So how are we honoring Him? And part of that is practicing that self-control. We have to include God in it on the day-to-day. I think that we want to involve God when we're sick, when we're not feeling well, when things aren't going well. We want instant healing and we want good health. And then we get frustrated when He's not giving it to us. But in reality, He's giving us the tools and the things that we need in order to take care of our bodies, in order to steward our bodies well. And so that falls on us. And so we need to really take responsibility for these bodies, for our health, and make the appropriate changes that we need to take. Because I do believe that when we decide that we're going to honor God in how we eat and in how we move, that He honors us back, right? He is a God of honor, and so He knows that when we are doing our very best to honor Him and take care of these bodies that He's given us, He's going to then, right, we get to reap the rewards of that. And He is a God who is abundant in His giving. And so don't be surprised when you begin to see God come through, because you have now dedicated your health to Him. And so include God in your health in the day-to-day process of it. And it does take the dreaded D word, discipline. nobody really likes discipline, okay? And because discipline means that it's not always going to feel good and you have to do it anyway. Discipline means that it's repetitive. It's something that you continue in. It is something that you learn to to live in, okay? And it's not a quick fix. It's not a, hey, you got 21 days, you can do this, or, take this pill for 7 days and boom, all your problems are fixed. Like, that's not how it works. It's not going to be overnight. It will take work, and progress is, you just practice it, right? You practice and you'll see progress, but you have to really put in the time. Like, success is a journey, and the road to success is not always an easy road. It's just not, but it is worth it. It is worth the hard work that it takes. And so I want to tell you that, is it going to take hard work? Yes. Are you not going to want to do it sometimes? Absolutely. Is it worth it in the end? Yes, 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 a million times yes. It is worth every inch of effort that you put into it, okay? And so some questions that we need to ask ourselves as we move forward into our health is, if I eat this, will I be satisfied? If I eat this, how is it going to make me feel? Is eating this helping me honor God? Now, that, again, that sounds a little silly, but if we continuously ask ourselves these questions, we're going to make better choices. It just is. When you're intentional about, and you really think about the things that you're doing and the actions that you're taking, and it's not just mindless, because we can mindlessly eat. I can, right? I was talking about earlier, like being bored and I'm just eating the snacks. Like, why? I don't even like that, but I'm eating it anyway. Just, it's that hand to mouth, like, let me do something because I'm bored. And so really being intentional with, before I put it in my mouth, like, is this going, like, before I fill myself up with this, is it going to be beneficial to my body and to my relationship with God? And and then when it comes to movement, some questions to ask yourself is, if I take time to move my body today, how's that going to make me feel? Is moving my body today moving me toward my goal of good health? And if I move my body today, is that honoring to God? Okay? And so it's more than just saying yes or no to food. It's really shifting our mindset and shifting our focus, and to understand, like, this is not a temporary thing. This is not we're not going on a diet. We are making diet, like, changes to our diets. We are changing our habits and including God in every aspect. And so some tips that you can take, okay, are to find things that motivate you. Music is a big motivator for me. If I have good music playing, I feel like it's the beat, it's the, you know what I mean, like, pumps you up. And so find good music if that's your jam. If you have quotes that motivate you, if, like, words of inspiration get you in that mindset, use those, put those up, put it on the background of your phone. Scripture, keeping your why in front of you. Why am I doing this? I want to feel well. I want to move well. I want to live this lifestyle. Like, I want to be able to keep up with my kids. I want to continue to be able to move into, as I age, as I get older. And so keeping your why in front of you. Why are you doing this? And then as you set goals, you want to set goals that are measurable, they're reasonable, they're attainable, and repeatable, that you can make it a habit. And so be specific with your goals, okay? You want to be able to measure it out. This is where I'm starting. This is what it's going to look like as I move forward. That way you can see your growth. You can see how you're changing. And so be specific and write it down, okay? So maybe your goal is to start running and you want to run a 5K, okay? That was a big deal to me. Like I said earlier, I'm not a runner, okay? I don't just run for fun. That's not my jam. I enjoy it more now that I did actually complete the Couch to 5K program. Revelation Wellness has one, and I had tried a million others before and never completed. I would get halfway through and then something would happen and I would be like, oh, it's fine, whatever. And I would stop. And this one I actually completed, and it's a great feeling when you do actually complete something. Let me just tell you that. And so I want to encourage you and I'll link that in today's description. So if you want to do that Couch to 5K program, it is available to you. But have a start date, write it down, let somebody know. Find somebody that will hold you accountable. They don't have to do the thing with you, but you want to find somebody that's going to check in with you, and that will hey, are you doing this? Are you still going? Are you, you know what I mean? And somebody that will hold you accountable. Maybe you say like, okay, I'm going to start going to the gym 3 days a week. These are the days of the week. This is the time of day I'm going. So these are things to consider too. What time of day are you going to move your body? What is your time frame? How long are you going to work out for? And what type of movement are you going to be doing? Find something that works for your schedule and that you don't hate, okay? I have a girl that I train, and she doesn't love working out, but she does it because she knows it's good for her, okay? And so you may not love everything that you do, but you do it because it's good for you. So dedication, doing it even when you don't feel like doing it. Because sometimes you'll get in there and you get it done and you're like, I'm so glad I did that. I mean, that happens to me. I love movement. I love to move my body. It excites me. I like to push myself to the limits. I'm not like that weird person. But there's just something when you're, like, even when you, like me, sometimes I don't want to. But it's afterwards and you feel that, like, oh, I'm so glad I did that. So there's that. Sometimes you get those moments. And sometimes it just is not good the whole time, but it's okay. Just keep doing it anyway. So be consistent. I read this quote the other day, and it said, don't say it didn't work when in reality you just weren't consistent. And I was like, oh, yes, that happens, because we'll do something for a week and we're like, that didn't work. I was like, no, you only did it for a week. Of course it didn't work. You weren't consistent. So, be consistent. I want to encourage you. Like, results are not going to happen instantaneously, and they're not going to happen overnight, but as you're consistent, as you're dedicated, as you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you will see results, okay? Reward yourself for your consistency. Try to not choose food things. Maybe try, if you like to read, like, okay, I'm going to reward myself with a book, or excuse me, I'm gonna go get my nails done if you're a girl, or if you're a dude and you like petties, okay? I know some fellas out there like to get the feet done, okay? But find things that you can reward yourself with. That way it kind of keeps you. That's another place of motivation that you can use. Start slow, and again, don't be discouraged when you wake up tomorrow and things aren't instantaneously, like, you're not just different, okay? Be patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. If you put in the work, you will see results. So just be patient, be kind. Sometimes we have to do the things that we don't love because they're good for us, right? It may not always, like, be feeling good. It may not always, like, taste good, but let me just tell you that if it's for your good, then it's good, okay? So just want to encourage you to keep going, and I just let you know that I believe in you. You can do it. If you need some help as far as, like, maybe some goals as far as, like, what you should eat, here's something else you can do. If you don't eat any kind of fruits and vegetables, okay, maybe one thing you start doing is, I'm going to start including a vegetable and a fruit once a day, or maybe you start with every other day. And that seems really small, but it's a big deal to you, okay? If you eat sugar all the time, maybe you say, okay, I'm gonna cut sugar back in half. I'm gonna eat half of the sugar that I was eating. Okay, and so small steps. If you need help, you can reach out to me if you need help in what you're eating and how you move. Okay, I'm a fitness professional, so you can reach out to me, and I'll leave my Instagram and email in the show notes, so you can reach out to me. Okay, at Becca D. Caldwell over on Instagram, and Becca at battleground.life. If you want to email me, you can do that. I would be happy to help you. And so I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and you can also share it on your socials, because sharing is caring. If you haven't yet, go ahead and subscribe so that you can hang out with me next time for part 3 of Health Yeah. We're going to be talking about different aspects of health as we go about this little series that I started. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you next time. See you then.